be from there, except your doors and your windows. I want you guys to model that. But how do you do that? So in this case, I created the opening for my door. I want this to have one step up. I want you to go one step before you get into my shelter. I'm gonna continue this. And once you create the opening, basically everything that you do, as we said, is created using components. So once the opening is created, your component is protected, right? There's nothing that I can do there. So I'm gonna create my door, leaving that component alone, working outside of it. I shouldn't work there because it's a different element. So once you have a window or something like it's a separate element. Leave the building as a component. Let's create something pretty much outside the building, something that is not a wall. So when I create a rectangle, use this corner right here, use the top rectangle right there, and I just created a vertical rectangle. Right? I'm gonna give it a thickness, and I'm gonna create a frame. I'm gonna push my wall back in, and I want to get rid of the bottom frame by pushing it down. Done. And if I want to make it all the way up, just for design's sake, I create my door. Now, this is completely separate than the building. The building is isolated as a component, the door is not. So if I double click multiple times, everything will get selected, and I get to right click and create my new door component. Yes. So now I have a building component, I have a door component, a roof component. Right? Not everything has to be inside one. Alright, I hear somebody clicking. I'm nothing against you guys doing work, but if you don't follow this, I will not explain it to you again. Alright? If you already saw this for some reason or self-education, that's fine. You can continue working, but I just don't want you to fall behind. I want to talk about something. And I will check your model. I will do that painful task of going around, making sure that everything is components. Alright? So, after you do something like this, you apply materials as you want. You can say that wood cherry. And I'm just going to apply it to both frame and door. And I'm done with my door. Now I don't like the color. We saw edit. You go to the edit part. You change the wheel to a different value, and then you make it darker. Right? It's my style. Same thing with windows. If you have an opening and you created the opening, all right, get out of the component. Leave the component created and start working on your window as a separate volume. And it's hard because you have to get in there in the middle and try to find that or part, and there you go. Try to give it a thickness, right? Create a frame, push that in, and start creating your window. And if you click multiple times, you right click, you say make component, you have a window as a separate unit. Alright? So what happens now? One of the things that I want to talk about really quick. So you can bring as many things as you want from the SketchUp warehouse, but your windows and your doors, those are yours. You create those. Now creating sections. Let's talk about creating sections really quick. The problem with a model like this, right, which is quick and ready to continue to be evolved, is that once I want to work inside, how do I get it inside a building? So one of the issues that we have sometimes is just we zoom in multiple times, and then we try to see I got lost already. Right, so I need to back up and then try to get inside the building, and it's hard because as soon as you move in the wrong place, I'm out. So one of the things that we do is we create sections. So how do we do that? So to create sections, for all of you taking notes, you go to View, Toolbars, and you need to activate the Section tool, and that's the one that we're going to work with. Alright, so it's a toolbar that you have to bring. Okay, there are There's a lot of redundancy in SketchUp, so the same tools you can find somewhere else, but we're gonna work with this. And I really hope you guys can see it, because it's quite small. But the section has 4 tools. One is the section plane. It's the one that looks like the little section symbol that we see on blueprints. Let's play with that one. As soon as you click on it, it's called a section plane. You say, don't show me this again. It creates a plane. And this is one of the coolest tools in SketchUp. It's ready to cut a building, right? The only problem is that it is too intuitive. So if I start to bring this closer to my window, look what happened to my building, it starts to tries to guess what is the direction of cut that I want to have. So now it thinks that I want to cut the side of the window. Now it thinks that I want to cut the leaf, the pod, or the door, and now it starts to turn. And all I want is just a cut on this direction. I just want to cut in half right here, cut the building. So that is actually the direction that I want. But it's just not the place, because I don't want to cut it on the outside of the building, obviously. I want to cut it in the middle, but it keeps changing. So one of the things that you do, for those of you taking notes, once you have the direction set, you press shift, and that locks the direction of the cut. All right? I'm gonna cut right in the middle of my door. And once you click there, everything else is going. Alright, so it cut the building. So far we're very good at this, right? We can cut buildings. And we can work inside. The only problem is, well, now we see the cut plane. Well, that's what the other tools are all about. If you click on the next one, display the section planes, and you click it, it goes away. The section plane goes away. Now the button looks like a section plane. You can see the red rectangle right there, right here. Right, so this brings the section plane back. So since if I want to see it, it looks like that. If I don't want to see it, it looks like that. It doesn't mean that the rest of the building is gone. The next one, display section cut, is checked. If I uncheck it, my building comes back. If I click it, it activates the cut again. So now that it's like that, you can work inside your building. You can zoom in and say, okay, where is my sleep area? I'm gonna put it right there. And a pillow, I'm gonna bring a pillow from the SketchUp warehouse. Where is my desk? You mount your desk. Or I'm gonna bring a desk from the SketchUp warehouse. I'm gonna bring a chair. I'm gonna put a shelf, lots of shelves right here that are super cool and long, like IKEA shelves. There we go. Alright, I'm starting to work on the interior. Alright, the other thing about the section plane, if you bring it back, is that you can move it. So, if you look at what I'm doing, you select the section plane, and you do the move tool. And if you move closer, or farther. Now, why does this help? Because sometimes there are corners in your building that you need to see, and they're hard to see. So you can do that, all right? These are basically how the tool works. You can rotate it. There are some buildings that are circular, triangular. How do you create a section plane? You do the rotation tool up here, right? And if you click right there, you can rotate the section plane. And it starts to do some weird stuff. It'll bring it back. Alright. I get very excited about it. Alright. So, the next thing that I would like you guys to do, not right now, when we finish, is to create sections. Alright? Because we want to see sections of your project. And but there are two different types of sections. This is really just a three-dimensional stack. And when we say section, we're talking about parallel projection, right? So at one point, we're going to create a camera parallel projection view of our building. And this will become our true section for our project. If you move it, you go back to parallel projection. Now, most of you should work, you guys should really work on perspective. That trains your eye. So what you can do at this point is create a section so you can work on them, but also create scenes. So requirements that I'm going to ask for your model as I go around and check your work is that you have to have scenes created. And one of the scenes, at least, we're going to create two sections, right? So one of the things has to be your section. So we did this already. Camera, standard views. What is it, left? There you go. That is the standard view of the left side. I'm going to turn off the section plane. Perfect. I'm going to say camera, parallel projection, and that is my section. It's perfectly done. And now I need to create a scene. So I go view, animation, add scene, and that one is done. And I continue to work. Or you can go back to perspective and create another one, add scene. Alright. So when I say show me your section, you click on scene, and that is what happens. And when you go back to work, you click there, and that is what happens. Just bring them all back. Alright, and you're working there. Yes?
Can you rotate the direction where you're writing the section?
So you have two options there. You can interesting. Wait, hold on a second. So I'll interesting. SketchUp now. Oh, I like that. So hold on a second. So when you create something, okay. So let's talk about this. Let's say this is my view, but I want this to be the view of my building. Just deactivate, right, your section and update it. So the settings that you're manipulating, all right, they all can be saved as long as you update your scene. So I right click and I say update. I go back to my section. I go back to my model. Okay? Because I deactivated the section plane and I resaved the scene by saying right click, update. Alright, so answering your question. So look at this. We can create a section. Let's use the one that we created. Right? And if you select it and you right click, there's one that says reverse. Alright? The problem that doing reverse is that, it may not necessarily be where you want it to be. So you can have more than one. You can have that section created on that side and do again section. Come on this side, press shift so you lock it, and cut it where you want the section, and that is the place where I wanted to have it. And save now this. Let me turn off the planes. I go view, camera standard views, right? Perfect, that's the one that I want. I go camera, parallel projection, and I have to create a new scene. Create scene for that one. So section 1 is that side. The one in the middle, I deactivated the section and updated the scene. And the one on the right is using the other. So every section plane that is active when you create that scene or when you update that scene gets saved. Alright? Easy? Perfect. So this is how you start working inside. And one of the things that we're going to do next Thursday is that we're going to export our section and animate it in Photoshop. We're going to add people, we're going to add shadows, put a sky in the back, and do a lot of fun things in Photoshop. So we're not staying in the SketchUp for that long. Alright, it's just another couple of classes and then we start jumping into Photoshop very deep. Alright, so that's sections and that's how to save sections. And I'm asking you to create your style, so when I go around and say show me your section, you just click there and boom. You see the building. Alright, the other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is another issue that happens when we start working, when we model, alright? So look at this gray, maybe not the grays. So the gray body, as you can see. Alright, so I decide during the design process that I don't want that roof to be floating like that. I want the walls to go all the way up and to meet that roof. Alright, so when I click there a few times, the roof is a separate entity, that's why it doesn't get highlighted, right? It's its own separate volume, because that's how you're working, right? Everything is a separate component. So I'm gonna select this, push it up, and I'm cutting through the roof, right? Pretty much I'm going through the roof, but there's no cut. Now, if I do this and say, I mean, how do I get rid of that? And I select this, I'm really selecting the entire wall. Because going back to the first class, every time that you create a component, you're protecting the geometry. The geometry is protected from the one next to it. They can overlap visually, but they're really separate things that you can select and move if you want to. One is not really affecting the other. So how can I do it? I mean, I think it's really cool if it goes up like that, but let's say that we just want to cut it, all right? We can use in the SketchUp one tool that allows you to intersect one volume with another. And when they clash, when they intersect, it creates a cut line. And once it creates a cut line, you can subtract everything on one side. But it needs to have two things, right? You need volume A, volume B, they have to intersect, right? They have to cut each other, and then you eliminate whatever you want to eliminate. So right now we have volume A, the gray wall, volume B, the roof, and I really want to eliminate everything that is on top, right? Everything that is passing the roof. So how do I do it? First, you need to create intersection, number one. Perfect, I see two of you taking notes. Those two will learn. The other one to take mental notes. Just don't ask me how to do it later. So you push all this way up, I create intersection, then you need to select the one that you want to modify, activate it, and either click multiple times or select the whole thing. All faces need to be selected, but not outside. You cannot just select the component. You need to be inside. It needs to be active, and every face needs to be selected. Once you get here, you right click and you say intersect faces with model. Alright, so you select all faces, you grab everything is active. Alright, those are all active faces. You right click, you go to intersect faces with model. And what it's going to do is going to intersect all the faces that you selected with the model around it. The 3D model, the rest of the 3D model. And it created a cut line. You can see it right there. That wasn't there before. Inside, let me show you what it did. It created that. It took the roof and used it as a knife. Right? So now if I double click on it, that can go away. This can go away. It's a perfect cut. That can go away. Alright. And I need to bring my roof back. What did I do with the roof? I hid it. So there are a lot of things in SketchUp that you can just hide for a minute while you're working. Hiding has nothing to do with the workflow or presentations or anything like that. You shouldn't use it for scenes or anything. Hiding is just you need to get rid of it for a minute because you're working on it, and then just hit it. How do I get it back? Well, how did I hide it in the first place? Let me hide this little planter right here. You select something, you right click, and you say hide. If you say erase, it's gone forever, right? If you say hide, it's not bothering you right now. You can finish whatever you were doing there. It's temporary. How do you get it back? You go to view, and you need to see where are your hidden geometries. So how do you hide? For the two of you taking notes, you select an object, you right click, and you go hide, and it goes away. How do you bring it back? You go to view and you select, I wanna see all my hidden geometries. Alright? But then this is how it shows it to you. It's just a preview. It's showing you all the geometries that got hidden. If you uncheck, if you don't wanna see this preview, you just uncheck it, hidden geometries. And they are still hidden. So you go view, hidden geometries. It's showing you everything that is in that hidden mode. Now you need to select it. You right click and hide. And you bring it back. Alright, look at the plant, it looks like a ghost plant. Because it's showing it to me that this is hidden. If I want to bring it back, I need to select it and I need to hide it. Alright? So that's important because if I want to work inside and I want to select the roof, I don't want to get rid of it, I want to erase it, I want to move it. And because I am following what the professor said and everything is a component, I can just right click here and say hide. I want to see the preview, so I check hidden geometries. Now I can work inside. You can bring things, put chairs, put a rug, put whatever art, walls and stuff like that. Alright, so let's do this one more time. I want now this wall in the middle. I want to create a separate volume right here. And I want only that side to go up. And because in architecture, once you create a shape, the shape has to be defined. I just messed it up. I have a vertical, almost like a chimney, that bleeds into the right and also goes this way. What is this? We don't work like this, right? So I'm gonna cut this wall right here, and push this out. Now it's a volume. Architecture is a work of volumes. It's a three-dimensional work. It's not a two-dimensional work. We don't work on a flat wall and we just have little holes there. Alright, we move masses. Alright, so I want this one to go all the way up. Now, but this is not a component, so I'm gonna just click it multiple times. I'm gonna right click. You know how to do this already. You right click, you say intersect faces with model. It thinks for a minute and you did the cut. It is right there, it created a new extra line. I just grab everything on top and erase it. And it's gone. Now you will see that there's an extra rectangle here because the roof has two planes. Right? The thickness of the roof, because it has a thickness. So it cut on the lower plane and the top plane. But really this one, you can just erase that one. And it's not gonna affect your model. So for those of you working with slanted roofs, with slope roofs, if you wanna bring walls up, right? Even there are some of you that are working with hexagonal buildings, don't put a flat roof, right? You don't need to. You just create something slanted, bring the whole hexagon all the way up, and let the hexagon cut it. And now you have a very interesting geometry, right? Alright, so this works not only for roofs, it works as you create different spaces. Alright, so we have these two shapes. I want to enter that one, but you have to enter. You have to activate all faces. You have to right click and say intersect faces with model. Now I can go and eliminate just that side. Alright? The problem is that when you go to 0, basically these two, because they're on the same plane, it doesn't recognize the cut, and that's an issue. So, in weird cases like this, probably better to have this down. And then click multiple times, intersect faces with model, and then everything here got cut. Alright? Alright. Any questions? Anything that I should repeat? So, anyway, so one of the dangers that you have is as you create, if you work with different masses, with different type of volumes, if you wanna get rid of the leftover or whatever got inside the space that you want to eliminate, you need to make sure that they are intersecting, eliminate everything that is in the back. And for those of you working with very simple shapes, you know, just create some slanted roofs, just add something that you can bring the walls up and then intersect them and let them cut each other. Besides this, we're not gonna do the last part. I think we're gonna leave that for next class. Here I'm gonna press that. Yeah, that was not fun. Alright, that's it. I'm gonna let you guys continue to model for the next half hour, make some progress. I wanna see that the shelters are being wrapped up and start working on sections, right? The goal is that when you click on the scenes, I can see the section inside. Alright, I clicked on the next one and you went back to the model. You keep working on this one. Those are just created for presentation purposes. And then the other one sections will show like that. Alright? Okay, all good? Yes, alright, so I am like 10 before 6, I'll go around and see your work.